right?
Yeah, just setting up now.
In a briefing over a month ago, that he followed a wrong advice from his so-called experts to create over 10,000
I'm here now, I better get a bit of stuff anyway, you know?
research capacity. And that's why he did not have enough resources to put them into places that actually needed the most, the long-term care homes. He admitted that over a month ago. So please, Doug Ford, why do you still listen to the same experts that you admitted gave you the wrong advice to begin with? I said this before and I'll say it again. Has to be fired and held responsible. At the federal level, Dr. Tam has to be fired and held responsible for thousands and thousands of Canadians dying because of the measures that they imposed on the whole country. And the misery that's been created because of those measures. And the deaths is going to be coming in days to come and months to come. Nobody's talking about the collateral deaths. So let us be the ones talking about the people that are not being talked at all. They've been discredited. All lives matter. Long-term care homes lives matter. People with cancer surgeries lives matter. Heart disease lives matter. People committing suicides because of depression, because of economic collapse of their social life. People not able to socialize with each other. All those things are responsible for causing misery and ultimately death of people on a daily basis. I said this again, I really would love Dr. DeVille in Toronto and Dr. Williams in Ontario actually give me the statistics for suicide in the last 3 months. Out of California, they actually announced it, that in 4 weeks, I believe, they had more deaths from suicide than the previous year combined. They talked about it openly. Like, this is why we have people going on a hunger strike, because of the mental health issues that people are suffering. We have Matthew over here, if you don't know Matthew over there with Kelly. He's fighting for mental health for our city, for our province. It's emotional, sure. I feel his pain. The money keeps going to the pharmaceutical companies, to the UN, to World Health Organization. Why? Why he's giving the money to develop a vaccine for the virus that's less than futile than the flu? Again, the real data now shows more people die from regular flu than from COVID. It's the truth, especially once you actually look into wrong label deaths. We know World Health Organization created the guidelines that people should be labeled on a certificate death dying from COVID, even just having the actual virus inside, but not being the cause of death. And they actually instructed the countries around the world not to do autopsies. Why do you do autopsy on someone? To actually see what's the actual cause of death. But the countries around the world were instructed by World Health Organization do not do that procedure, because they were afraid that, of course, the doctors actually will see that this is not what we've been told from the beginning. And finally now, in Germany, in Italy, guess what? They're doing autopsies on people. And they're actually finding out that this is definitely not what we've been told from the beginning. And that's why I've been so outspoken for the last 3 months about World Health Organization being as corrupt as we come. Tedros, the director of the World Health Organization, if you don't know, is the first non-physician of the World Health Organization. So when someone tells you you're not a doctor to give your opinion on Facebook about what's going on, please tell them the director of World Health Organization is not a doctor. So if he can give his opinion, I certainly will do so as well. And guess what? When he was a health minister of Ethiopia, he actually covered 3 outbreaks of cholera. Do you think we can even funnel to take someone's opinion like that, let alone trust blindly the instructions coming from such a person? And once you really understand all the money being funded to World Health Organization by Bill Gates and Gavi, and guess what's happening now with our liberal government? And it doesn't really matter the parties. Again, this is not a political issue. I said this before. This is not a political issue. This is a life issue. All lives at stake. Doesn't matter your religion, doesn't matter your ethnicity, doesn't matter your backgrounds. It's all lives matter. Enough is enough, guys.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Guess what? Now we know in the news that yesterday several media sources actually showed to us that now we have 37 million syringes bought up by federal government. And Dr. Tam said, just to make sure we have enough for everyone who wants to get it done.
Yeah, really.
But I mean, it's a coincidence, it's the exact population of our country. Like, really?
Funny, guys. This is not acceptable what they have planned for us. It's very,
The other thing I'm gonna say
we must
about the,
stand up larger and larger
going back to
people
the long-term care homes,
for
guys.
that we
This is
have
what you need to know.
for ourselves,
And
for
because we're
our
here in
loved
Ontario, right?
ones, for the Canadian people, for the whole of humanity.
So here in Ontario, this is from a different person. I think today will be definitely a good point to discuss long-term homes. So our government in Ontario removed thousands of elderly from hospitals' beds to free up room, even after the infections peaked in hospitals and were not overwhelmed. To long-term care homes, elderly residents were underlying conditions. So basically, we took people out of hospitals and actually put them into long-term care homes to actually continue spreading the virus. It makes no sense. Criminal.
Virus, to begin with.
This is the timeline. Actually, this is what I want you to read. So February 23rd, 2020, the deaths worldwide from COVID-19 surpassed 2,400. Ontario Chief Medical Officer Dr. Williams, and that's the person I've been talking from the beginning, I want to assure the public that the risks of Ontario remains low. March 8th, Canada's first death from COVID-19 is reported in long-term care homes. March 11th, pandemic called by World Health Organization. March 12th, Italy has 1,600 deaths. Ford urges families to travel and enjoy themselves as schools close for March break. March 13th, Italy has 1,266 deaths, majority elderly patients with underlying diseases. Ontario has 79 positive cases. Dr. Williams strongly recommended that long-term care homes cease non-essential visits, but doesn't make it in order. March 17th, Doug Ford declares the state of emergency. March 18th, outbreak declared at Pinecrest Nursing Home in Bobcaygeon, Ontario. Within 3 weeks, 28 of the home's 64 residents will die. March 19th, a woman in 90s in long-term care home shows 6 COVID-19 symptoms. Public health unit receives her test results 4 days later, the day she dies. Canada has 36 deaths. Italy 7,500 deaths. March break ends near. Dr. Williams recommends 14 days of isolation for healthcare workers who have traveled internationally, but does not make it mandatory. The federal government waits until March 25th before ordering a quarantine. March 22nd, Dr. Williams asks long-term care homes to limit number of locations employees work at wherever possible to reduce risk of staff carrying the virus from home to home. Canada has 20 deaths. This does not become a mandatory policy until much later, April 22nd, when Canada has 1,974 deaths.
Debatable in my opinion.
April 22nd is when only in Ontario they made it mandatory to make sure that they limit the transmissions between long-term care homes. How does that even make sense? Then months before they knew about the virus, they knew that the risk population is our elderly people, specifically long-term care homes. Those are the isolated people already. They're not even leaving the premises. But we, all healthy people, supposed to be staying at home and not actually working on creating the herd immunity, which will prevent the spread to begin with.
That's right.
Ridiculous. March 26, province continues to recommend against testing everyone in long-term care homes that sees outbreak. Canada has 39 deaths, Italy has 8,200. March 27, Associate Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Barbara Yaffe, on why province isn't ordering testing on all long-term home residents where outbreaks are declared. This is what she said. We don't want to use up the limited lab resources to test everybody when we already know that the cause of outbreak is. Remember, Ontario did not use 500 private testing labs and refuses the Ontario Medical Association offer of family physicians no longer seeing patients to open COVID-19 assessment centers for long-term care homes. Isn't this specifically premeditated actions of our government to not actually do something about long-term care homes? This is why I say the genocide of our elderly population.
That's right.
The facts are there. This is not made up. This is actual information, easily accessible by anyone willing to take a look.
The perfect murder.
March 28th, outbreak in Bob Cajun long-term care homes is raging. About 50% of staff sick with COVID-19. March 30th, 9 deaths in Bob Cajun long-term care homes. This is what Ford said. We are putting an iron ring of protection around our seniors. We must do everything we can to prevent further spread in these homes. Canada has 89 deaths. Italy has 11,591 deaths. Elderly hospital patients are still being transferred into long-term care homes, and staff are working free but still infectious in between homes. Again, I repeat, at the end of March, we still have elderly hospital patients being put into long-term care homes. Why? The hospitals are empty. Leave people where they are so they can actually get proper hospital care and not infect other people. It makes no sense. What does Dr. Williams thinks about this specific thing right here that I just said? Williams, David Williams. Ontario, no problem. March 31st, reported challenges Ford. We've known for some time that this is a vulnerable population. Why did the province not act sooner to stop the virus from spreading into long-term care homes? This is what Ford replies. I just wish we had a crystal ball. I'm sorry, like I thought you have experts around you. I thought this is who you're relying on fully to guide the policies, guiding 15 million people in this province alone, and be an example for the whole country, by the way. Because this is what we do in other provinces, where they have barely any cases at all. They're using provinces like Quebec and Ontario to scare people in those provinces, telling them we don't want to be like Ontario, we don't want to be like Quebec. That's why we still need to extend the emergency orders. That's why everyone still have to keep the distance and all that nonsense stuff. Where again, they actually tested, the PubMed has a clinical study done with over 400 people where the transmission from asymptomatic, I call it healthy people, please, we really need to change the vocabulary and the wording. So the transmission between healthy people, non-existent. And yesterday I saw another statistics from China where they tested over 7,500 people and only one transmission was documented. I repeat, over 7,500 people transmission within healthy population, only one got documented. Like, how is that even possible to justify still having everything closed outside? It does not. Let me finish this and I'm just going to make up all my points and I'll bring Kelly here. So I just wish I had a crystal ball, right? So can we maybe create a new experts panel for Doug Ford, since he only wishes to have crystal ball to ruining the lives of 15 million people in Ontario? Like, this is what he says. Like, how can someone like that lead this province? I don't get it. I'm sorry.
Severely.
You know he's lost. You know that he
For sure. So at the end of March,
You know what?
oh yeah, this is the statistic that I mentioned before. Please remember, guys, when you're talking to other people and you tell them the death rate from flu is worse than COVID, and they ask you how is that possible, this is the statistic that I've been bringing to people. So remember, for us, it's all about putting a seed of doubt for someone. We're not going to be able to convince them completely, but at least if we can make them pause and think. This is really what we have to take as a mission for us, the main group of people that already got this, to spread the message and grow our movement. We really just have to create a seed of doubt for somebody just to even pause and think. because they've been brainwashed, bombarded by the media and the government. And I don't blame them to be fearful. This is the statistic. In Canada, there were 8,511 deaths in 2018 to 2019 from influenza and pneumonia, with about 3,500 Canadians dying each year from influenza, which can lead to complications like pneumonia. This is the statistic, just remember. 8,500 deaths, over 8,500 deaths previous season from flu and pneumonia. And we did not do any of these measures for that. You know why? Because there is a simple ratio, cost to benefit ratio. And as a harsh it might sound, this is how the policies are created on social economical level. It's a cost to benefit ratio. So if implementing specific measures and policies to save specific risk group, however, it will cause deaths in all the other groups, you don't follow those policies. Because this is how you outweigh. You cannot be independent, because those people, man, could not stand in the places where I read all those things were happening. No one could. Doesn't matter how hard of a person you think you are, and strong and capable. Like, this needs to be known by everyone. So the last 2 points that I want to make is unfortunate that our government at all the levels, and as much as I love animals, I also love kids. But think about this. We have dog parks open.
What?
Yeah. Off-leash parks are open. Everybody knows that or no? Yeah. The dog parks are open. However, the playgrounds are still closed.
Oh my God.
How does that make sense? The golf course is open, but the playgrounds are still closed. The summer camps are closed, right? Now, the other thing, the grooming places for animals are open.
Oh my God.
However, for people, no. So where's the priority for the government? Again, as much as I love the animals, I also love people. What's up with the double standard? But this is the double standard that this government been doing from the very beginning, where they're imposing the policies on a regular population and they're acting completely different. Again, let me remind you, Tory was hugging nurses in front of our hospital a month ago. He was at the Trinity Bellwood Parks last week hanging out with people. So he's okay to do that, but we're not supposed to do this.
Do as we say, not as
Doug
we
Ford
do.
traveling to his cottage, doing whatever he wants. This is the double standards that we need to understand. This is why we say it's a scandemic. Not because the virus is not real. Some people are actually dying from this virus, most of them because of other conditions or whatnot. But we say this because they used this virus to install the agenda and push specific agenda on people, right? This is why we call it a scandemic. Not because people are not dying from the virus, but because it's been used at a broader form to create what we have now. A population that's as miserable as it has been in the history of a long time, and they're using this as the worst enemy that we ever faced, as I said yesterday, Tory called that. So all those things must end now. We'll probably talk a little bit later, but I think I talked enough for now. Let me bring Kelly, and thank you so much. Stay healthy. Love you all.
Everybody that is participating in this is absolutely wonderful. Vlad, thank you so much for your passion and for how much you care about everyone. Thank you all for this. I want to talk a little bit about democracy and words. What are words? Words are the basis of every civilization because it's the words that define the laws that keep the peace amongst such a vast array of people that share the same collective. And our words are represented in there. Except when there is suspended, we don't have words. We don't have a voice. We have a dictatorship. Our government are representatives of our authority, period. We tell them what to do. They don't tell us what to do. You cannot have, the reason why democracy is so important is because it is the only philosophy that can accommodate the best of every other philosophy. And for that exact same reason, no other philosophy can accommodate democracy. It is that simple. There is no such thing as democratic communism or democratic socialism. It does not exist. This is a perversion of democracy. There can only be democracy that can accommodate the best of those things. And we do that to the best of our ability, and we can evolve. Because why? We have different opinions, and the different opinions that we have get to perform on a platform and debate out until we find a solution that suits us all, that is fair and doesn't cause oppression and doesn't cause slavery and doesn't cause discrimination. And this all happens within the policies in there. That's where we need to make a difference. That's where our voices matter. We saw last week over 2,000 people rightly march because of a systematic discrimination that has existed in this country for far too long. And that will only change in there. That's where it matters. We need to change the policies that we did not create ourselves. And I'm calling on Doug Ford, who likes to go on the media, spending thousands of our dollars to try and paint a picture that the people that are gathered out here today are insignificant. Well, you know who's insignificant? Doug Ford is insignificant. I have no room in my life for a one-pump Peter. Personally, and I don't care how you can take that however you like. So, and I'm not interested in fixing or repairing things daily either, which is the slogan of Ford. I'd like to read a little something that I wrote back in university in regards to government and democracy. First, the freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is the only way a person can thoroughly express themselves in a civilized manner that doesn't disrupt the safety or security of another. Regardless of how insulted or offended others may become from the words that people use or the opinions they may have, speech does not affect or change an individual's safety or security. It is an insult, and an insult is not an assault. And if you disagree, then you should seek help and learn better. Freedom of speech is synonymous to freedom of expression. Why does government exist? The truth? Because there are not enough people in the world who are capable of taking honest responsibility for their own lives and actions. But we're getting there, we're getting there. Yeah. It's only an intelligent minority that has the will of this sort of morality. So a system of order is a necessity to civilization in its entirety.
That's very doubtful.
Sorry, I keep popping it off. The only system that currently and globally exists today that evolves humanity in a civilized manner is that of democracy. Democracy is a platform where all people, no matter their beliefs or ideologies, can meet and compromise in an effort to live peacefully amongst one another while teaching individuals self-responsibility in the effort that one day the earth will become a place where everyone is honest and takes responsibility for all life, because all lives matter. Democracy ensures that the minority of people capable of taking honest responsibility for life can teach others to do the same. Democracy ensures all voices are heard. It provides opportunities to everyone who is willing to contribute to its expansion without prejudice. It encourages the will of every individual to evolve peacefully. There is no other form of mass evolution to civilization on Earth than democracy. It is symmetrical and provides equal opportunities to the vast wilderness of various different cultures, because equality of outcome does not exist in nature and therefore could not ever exist to natural beings without oppression or slavery. And though democracy should be the ambition of all people, the balance of nature disagrees. Therefore, democracy requires definition and protection from anyone and everyone who works to infiltrate or blur the perimeters of democracy. Our evolution depends on it. To defend democracy is to defend all life. At this point, I would like to take a moment to invite Lamont up here, if you don't mind, just to say a few words, and we'll see you shortly.
Thank you,
Hey everybody, how you doing today? First thing I'm going to do is deal with one of my biggest fears, which you might see when I speak once in a while, that I don't like microphones at all. Why? Because I don't want to have my face in them, okay? So I put a mask on this microphone so I can get in front of it and say what I gotta say! Woo! Or, how do you do that thing that Jesus Christ does, like this? Peace to the people. So, a lot of this stuff, oh, first of all, I should introduce myself. My name is Lamont Daigle. I am the lead for Toronto for a celebration of freedom and rights right across Canada. And we've been doing some great work with Chris Sky and with Vlad and stuff. Fearless Ontario is an amazing work that we're doing together with the people and with Randy Hillier. So I just want to say thank you so much for those guys for setting this up. Thank you. The energy that's supposed to be created from this will no doubt play over time, and it's going to be absolutely wonderful. I have no doubt. So, what kind of information do I have to talk like this? Why do I stand in front of this wonderful place here in the middle of one of the most beautiful cities in the world, in front of a beautiful building of such epic architecture? I mean, listen, I'm gifted to be here right now to talk to you guys about all this kind of stuff because this is my dream, as a matter of fact. 25 years ago when I started realizing what was going on in the world, and I started looking at guys like this saying, how come he gets to be up there talking about all the things I want to? He's amazing. Those kind of guys talk like this because he eats, breathes freedom, okay? He eats and breathes freedom because he's a man who does what he wants. And I love that. Vlad does what he wants. I love that, okay? Nico does that. Kelly, you're doing amazing things. And why are you standing next to me, girl? Absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody. Please put your hands together for Kelly, who's going to introduce Randy Hillier. Thank you. Paul, remember which side it's on.
That's awesome. Well, without further ado, everybody, the Honorable Randy Hillier.
Again, I'm going to take the mic off here. I'd like to move around a little bit. And again, thanks for being here again today. Thanks for inviting me here today. Things didn't turn out quite the way we wanted. In some respects yesterday. Of course, yesterday the motion was tabled to extend the state of emergency, and I had tabled an amendment to at least have some transparency and accountability with the decisions making of the command table. I had been giving assurance that the vote would not have happened last night and that we would have had it this morning, and we would have had what's called a recorded vote, where every member stands and has their name recorded for and against. Instead, my amendment for transparency was defeated with a closure motion by the government, and well, it really is. It's a, you know, we need to have accountability. Whoever is in government, whoever is making decisions, you know, the public has a right and a need to know how decisions are being made and who's making them. So I'm very disappointed with that. Then obviously the NDP and the government House Leader cut a deal not to have the deferred vote this morning, not to have a recorded vote, and just to let it go on what's called a voice vote, where it's yays and nays and nobody knows exactly who says what. So disappointing, and that's also what obscures accountability as well. You know, like nobody knows for certain whose position is what. So, you know, the term that I would use for that, that's we would call it a little jiggery pokery in politics type of thing. And you know, here again, I asked the Minister of Long-Term Care about why they refused to accept an offer from the Ontario Medical Association to provide assistance in long-term care back in April. And her answer to me today was, it was an integrated decision. You know, and it was exactly the same. We can't know who made the decision. That's, you know, and if you don't know who makes the decision, how the hell do you hold them accountable for their decision? You know? And that's what this state of emergency is about. It's about not having accountability for the people of Ontario. But listen, I did say yesterday, and I'm still confident in saying this, the actions that you're taking, the time and effort that you're taking to speak out, to come to Queen's Park, to send emails, to make phone calls to your MPPs, to the Premier, are having an impact. They are having an impact, and it may not be everything we want, but you know, a slice is better than none at all, and I think we're going to get there. I know we will get there faster if we continue to speak out. We continue to motivate others to speak out as well. We continue to mobilize. That will bring the day closer and faster at hand. So don't stop. You know, every week and every day, send those letters. And I will say, it doesn't matter what party your member may belong to, whether the member belongs to the NDP party, the Conservatives, the Liberals. They all voted to continue the extension of the state of emergency. So you've got to let them all know clearly that the harm that they're doing can't continue and must end as quickly as possible, and you can only do that by speaking out. So continue on. I'm going to continue on. I'm not going to stop. I'm sure none of you are going to stop.
No, Howard.
And I look forward to working with all of you to continue to move to Yard 6. And well, make Ontario open for business, I guess. You know, and maybe make Ontario for the people again. I don't know.
Make the world for the people.
You know, like we hear a lot of slogans in the political world, but what we have to measure people by is their actions. And the actions that have been taken here have caused a great deal of harm. And for everybody. For everybody's benefit. For those people who are seeking to get needed medical attention, for those people who are seeking to earn a living once again, to not be financially ruined with their business closures, and to have a life. You know, like this is, you know, I've spoken about this. You know, we are social beings. For our own well-being, for our own health, for the health and benefit of society, there has to be social interaction.
Of course.
Like
children need
society
to be able to interact with each
cannot exist without it.
They know that,
It
sir.
just
You know
cannot.
that they know that.
Well,
other.
but it's where it is in the understanding and the priority, and they're not seeing this as a priority, and we're seeing the numbers of addictions, relapses. We're seeing the numbers of suicides, and we're seeing the increasing hurt that society is facing. And that has to be a priority as well. It's not just, you know, there is, you know, life is more than a singular subject. Life is more than a singular
This man makes so much sense. God bless him.
policy. Life is all-encompassing. It has many different facets, and we have to be able to not just look at one singular facet and exclude all others. Thank you very much for everything that you're doing. And I look forward to being back another day. Thank you.
Randy
Randy
Hillier.
Hillier, everybody. And Randy, I'd just like to draw your attention to the sign over here. I'm sure you're going to see lots more of them. Now it says Hillier for Premier.
Hell yeah.
This is a gentleman who cares about democracy and the people and representing your voice. Thank you so much, sir.
The only
Thank you so very
politician
much.
in Ontario speaking sense.
That's what it's
An
about,
honest
folks.
government,
It's about
official
democracy.
people.
It's about your choice.
rare
It's about
quality
our children
in
and
this
their
day and age.
education. How many of you are parents? How many of you have not had their kids in school for months upon months, while you have all these people arguing because they're not filling their pockets enough? This is ridiculous. They're going to dummy down an entire generation of our children. And you know what is very concerning, as somebody with psychological training, the reward system of graduation is put in place so that it encourages kids to continue on educating themselves. I wonder how many children and how many kids and how many teenagers and how many college students are going to actually finish the next level of education without being encouraged and rewarded for the last. It's ridiculous. These things are very, very important, and we have to directly confront them all. So thank you again all for being here. I'm going to have Lamont come back up here, if you will, and continue on with his speech.
I'll be right back.
He'll be right back. He likes to be fashionably late. A little bit of a ham.
He needs his scarf now.
Yeah, he's got to have his scarf. He's a little bit of a germaphobe. So, but we love everybody, so that's good.
Germs are people too.
Lamont, everybody, thank you.
Germs make you healthy.
Yes, thank you. Actually, it's called
Good to see you, brother.
playing in the mud. That's what it's called. Hang out with your friends and get some immunity.
How are you, man? Good to see
A
you.
lot of the people out there that are having a hard time with health challenges have what's called immunodeficiencies. There are people that already have pre-existing health conditions. Those are the people that are having a hard time out there, okay? After generations and generations and generations of bad food, bad water, bad polyester, fluoride in your toothpaste, aluminum in your deodorant. Everything has been set up because when I get into stuff like this, I get to show you because we have a little bit of time. Over here right now, I only have a couple of minutes, but when I go through this list, I go, so, are you aware that every piece of society is quite frankly a lie? Because if they really cared about you, we'd be in a different place here now, wouldn't we? Yeah. Now, I want you to do a little search someday on this comedian named Alan Park. He used to be on CBC Air Force, okay? And I used to watch this guy on Friday nights after we smoked a little doob, my wife and I back then. And we love Canadian humor, but Alan Park was the most intelligent comedian I had ever seen. Why? Because he interlaced stuff. He was talking Illuminati and Queen, you know, screwing dogs and all sorts of stuff back at 15, 20 years ago. This guy was brilliant. And who was before Alan Park? A guy by the name of George Carlin. Right? He should have been a politician, quite frankly. I would have fucking voted for him in a minute and a half. Seriously, right? But what did they do to him? Finally, he got killed. Everybody seems to either have one of these scarves around a door handle, or for some reason they get hit with an energy weapon, or they drink a little poison over there that makes your heart go slow. See, that's what Alan Park used to do. I used to say to him all the time, to my wife, I was like, hey, you know what? I want to be like that guy. I want to be best friends with that guy. As a matter of fact, someday I want him to open at the convention center and stuff and talk about this wonderful water that I've got going on and stuff. And guess what? 3 years later, I'm living with the guy and he's my best friend. Wow. Okay? I have manifestation skills, my friend. You know why? Because I have this thing called Christ consciousness. Yeah. Jesus Christ had it, and he was a good guy. Because guess what? The nice guy you saw here 6 weeks ago is now really mad. I'm really pissed off. Why? Some of you saw this post last night from Ryan Kolbaba. Do you guys know the guy? Celebration of Freedom and Rights? Our guy that started the group in a way. He was pissed off because look at us right now. We're the only warriors in this goddamn city when millions of people are out there sucking on their lattes that they're not supposed to have, walking their dogs they're not supposed to be, and those are essential. And we're here getting rained on and snowed on. Wonderful people like Black Lives Matter, okay? It's not a race issue. This is Toronto. We don't deal with that kind of stuff here because we love our people. That's why you came here in the first place.
Yeah.
All right? We love our cops. Why? Because they have families too, just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Okay? And if this city goes to a shithole town, these cops are going to be wondering, who do I align with? Guys that are yelling about black lives? It's not the black guys that are talking like that. No, it's the guys paid off by Soros and Antifa.
Yes.
Okay? Bill Gates and Clinton. You baby screwers.
Yeah.
You deserve to have your necks cut. Quite frankly,
Yeah.
Christ consciousness strung up people, okay?
Yeah.
People that are evil, sorry to say, at this point today, I would kill someone.
Awesome.
I would. If they were the people that were killing millions of people,
Yeah.
I'd have a good day doing it, and then I'd ask Jesus and God for forgiveness.
Yeah.
Because He put the power of my hand into that. And I'm here for you people. So if we ever need to string me up on a cross out there someday, and you need to finish me off, to say to the people, we lost a fucking man out there. I'll fucking do it. Tie me up and fucking bolt me to the damn thing if you need to. But I will not let my city go down. I will not let my father not see me again before he dies. I will not let my best friend in fucking Sedona not be able to hang out with his fucking father when his wife of 52 fucking years can't hang out with her husband in the last years of his life. That's just my friend. What about all those people down there where those kids have no goddamn attention from their parents and then blame the teachers and nurses because they're not taking care of them? This whole system has been set up this way.
Yeah.
Set up, and I'm fucking sick of it. All right? So use my words very carefully. I happen to have the biggest heart out of anybody you'll ever meet in your life, and I'll prove it to you every time. Just ask. Okay? How am I doing for time, Kelly? You want me to keep going? 2 minutes? Cool. There's a book my good friend Kevin lent me. It's called Common Sense Revisited. You think it's about time we kind of revisited some common sense these days?
Yeah.
Just a bit, right? Actually, you guys aren't the problem. You know that, right?
Yeah.
I'm just announcing this so hopefully somebody with their, sun towers and stuff in their open windows getting some air and stuff can hear me. Hopefully I'm loud enough.
Yeah.
So that the rest of you people out there enjoying your lives every day that we frankly pay for, while the rest of us are locked up, the people who don't have the balls and vaginas to be out there in public enjoying their lives, we're here for you.
Yeah.
We are
Thank you.
here.
Thank you.
Let me read something really quick and then get out of here. John Adams. Anybody know who that guy is?
Yeah.
Right. Second president of the United States, right?
1776.
Power always thinks it has great soul and vast views beyond the comprehension of the weak. And that is doing God's service when it is violating all His laws. That's what's happening today. See those logos and emblems up there?
Yeah.
They're made to feel like they're more than godlike to us.
They're not.
They're not godlike.
They're not.
If they were, we wouldn't be in this spot right now. So don't
Yeah.
talk goddamn religion to me.
Yeah.
Religion to me is your right. It's to love God. We're all the same. Doesn't matter if you're Islam, you're Buddhist, you're fucking Hindi, doesn't matter. Catholics. Your leaders put you in this position. People against people. It's about God.
Yeah.
Why do you think you're here right now? Multiple past lives have brought you all here again when we used to stand on a fucking battlefield once upon a time. Once upon a time. You were lovers. You were parents. You were people over and over again that got born into this fucking consciousness, and now you're here fighting for the freedom of millions.
Yeah.
That's powerful. And that's what makes me really excited every day. I'm so sleep deprived right now and hungry because I'm fasting. I'm getting pissed off. So thank you very much for your time. I'd love to have a little bit more of a chat with you. More information I have for you later. I love you all. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you. Roar, roar.
There's always Saturday, trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Lamont. Thank you so much. He's a very passionate person. So, right now, I would like to once again call Vlad back up to the microphone so we can discuss. Where are you, Vlad? Where'd he go? Vlad?
Way over there. He's in the garden.
Oh, is he in the garden? Oh, here he comes. You run like a chicken. I'm just joking. Everybody, one more time for Vlad, please. One more time for Lamont, one more time for Vlad. Thank you very much.
So, how's Randy Hillier was? Amazing, right? Like it's amazing to have one person at least to start this movement for us within.
So guys, just getting a little bit of shade. It is getting very humid and sticky here, and standing in direct sunlight isn't the best best ways. Hang on, good God, let me try and zoom out for you guys.
So we
Who
are
have we
here,
got
first of all,
watching?
for our community. We're giving permission to other people to be the voice of reason.
Hey,
to
crying
be the voice
hippie.
of common sense. Unfortunately, common sense is not common practice, especially in the last 3 months.
Danielle, we're pretty
But
chill
we still
most of the
have to
time.
do
So
our
who we
part,
got watching?
right? It's
Anybody?
our
Nobody?
responsibility, again, to ourselves, to our family, to our children, to our communities, to this country and to the world, right? To be the one, the light that's gonna create more light within the room of darkness, right? So Randy Healer talked about, you know, it's important for us to continue. I just want to bring again attention just to show how when these people call us the Yahoos, when these people calling us that we have no place,
hey guys, good to see you.
People, right? Everyone agrees
so
that
we heard some very, very powerful words and messages. We saw Randy Hillier, the MPP, here coming out to speak to the very small crowd. There's not many people here today.
Yesterday to have accountability in this province over what we're doing to the 15 million people. So that's one strike
maybe
for them.
20, 30 people tops, but
what kind of integrity
they come here to
you
stand for the right of all sorts of freedoms, not just their individual ones.
In there,
down
to us,
a politician
and you have no
that seems to care
to have an oversight
about
over the measures that you
individuals of the people he represents. I'm going to try and put this
on this thing. They basically had a secret vote, right? They did not have recorded votes, so we can't even hold accountable the people that voted against having oversight over their measures. That's total lack of integrity. How's that even just blows my mind that you're gonna vote against having oversight, and then you're gonna have a secret vote, so no one's gonna actually be recorded and hold responsible and accountable after the fact. That's ridiculous. And you're gonna talk down to us that we are irresponsible here? Please, like, look in the mirror. Like, seriously, look in the mirror. The real Team Yahoo is over there, right? Those Yahoos have to go. Team Yahoo right there. Ridiculous. So I'd like to talk about Saturday, right? Saturday is our celebration of life, right? It's so important for us to continue our Saturdays. Again, we made a commitment to be here every time the Parliament is in session. Right? We're definitely getting more media coverage. That's great. We're going to be working on having more numbers here now while the Parliament is in session, now that we're getting a little bit more organized while Parliament is in session. On the weekends, it's a little bit different because nobody's there, so we pretty much do almost what we want by there. So Saturday is our celebration of life. We have a kids event. I'm going to create an event page a little bit later today so we can RSVP and show to people that we have people come and celebrating life with children. Again, we have gifts and everything like that. So please come Saturday, 12 o'clock, bring the children. Fearless Ontario going to be updated. So it's always updated. So Fearless Ontario right now shows yesterday and today's an event. As soon as we're done here, it's going to be updated to show an event for Saturday. And it's going to be happening like that all the time. So all you got to do is just direct people to that website. You know, just direct people to the website. It's going to be updated. It's going to be showing our next event. So people always will know what's taking place next. The other thing, on the fearlessontario.ca, there's actually a petition that's already been created. Please, yourself, make sure you sign up for that petition. So that petition is not run by Change.org, which is actually owned by Bill Gates. This is our petition. So we'll be collecting the numbers and signatures and information of people that's fighting for our democracy. And obviously the other thing that I need you to do is I need you to massively share that.
Yeah, camping store would be great. My phone is glitching terribly right now, guys.
Having the names and the numbers,
sorry.
And we'll have those petitions then printed up and delivered to this parliament with help of Randy Hillier. Right, so that's the idea, that those people
I
need
got
to
all
have
kinds of apps open in the background here. I don't know if the stream's still running.
Names and people that are concerned about restoring democracy in our province, restoring
I have to work
democracy
in the garden.
country,
You all have a good day. Enjoy that.
Holding those people accountable when they're voting against the measures to have accountability for themselves.
Oh yeah, a little camping store would be good. Fuck this phone.
With supposedly democratic state, that ever happens. That only happens in dictatorship, that only happens in the tyranny governments, and we're not going to stand for that. Because most people here are immigrants. We're coming from those places. Where they
well,
have
I've got a little tripod. As I said, I need to get some equipment in the CAS. This is what Ship Radio Productions is about. I've got a phone and a selfie stick. I'm trying to bring the message as much as I can. Now, oh my God, my Facebook's opening, my email's opening. This phone has been hacked and it's glitching like a motherfucker right now. So I might
in the last federal election, we had one of the lowest turnouts.
Stop this stream very shortly because I'm getting difficulties here. But hopefully, you know, I will try and acquire some new equipment, so this is going to be easier in the in the
11 million
future.
people out of the 37 million
I may have to
people
run
in
some kind of
Canada,
telethon or
less than
fundraiser or
60%
GoFundMe type
voted in
thing,
the
so
last election.
maybe I can get
Do you
some of these
remember
things that I
what's
need.
the percentage the Liberal Party got? I think it was under.
It's not the
30%,
stream,
right?
it's
That's
my
why the
phone,
minority
Kaz.
government-
My phone has been
So
hacked.
Actually, break down the numbers.
For the last couple of
The
weeks, it's been
government right
behaving
now
like it's
is
got a mind of its
controlled
own and goes against
dictatorship
everything I do.
country with less than 25% of the whole population.
And this is a little bit it. This
Like,
it's the
that's
voice.
basically
It's
what's
not. We're not here for
happening
special
here. We have a
effects and
minority
handsome
government that
lead
suspends
roles. We're
democracy
here
at federal
about what the
level.
message. As long as you can hear what they're saying,
Unfortunately, because I actually voted
that's
for
the main
him
thing.
myself.
Um,
James Singh, he actually unfortunately partnered with the Liberal government to extend the suspension of the parliament till September. And he actually had a nerve to say that he did that to protect the democracy. What a joke. What a joke. Again, I said this before, this is not a political issue, this is a life issue. I voted NDP for the last 3 elections, but if I only see Conservative Party, some of the leaders, amazing women out of Alberta, Michelle and Rachel, I should get the last names, Rachel Harder and Michelle Rampel, those are the only 2 women out of Alberta.
as long as you've got the
actually
screen,
fighting
that's
for
all
our
that's
rights
matter.
at the
But
federal
what
level.
I'm seeing on my screen,
that's
you
amazing.
aren't seeing.
And I wanna give as
I
much
reset my
support to those
phone,
people. Doesn't matter the
closed the screen and
political
opened it. It seems okay
If
now.
I see Randy Hero, who's independent, is the only person.
But I've been saying for
in
quite
this
some
building
time now that
behind
this
me,
phone's been
being
hacked.
Actually outspoken,
And funny enough,
even
it
before
started acting like this
yesterday.
the day after I lost
shared
my
his
other
speech at the
phone.
Parliament, where he talks about
So I went from having
thousands
2
and thousands
perfectly
necessary hospital
working
procedures being
phones
cancelled. And
to
those are the
having
collateral deaths
one
that are
glitchy
happening.
hacked phone to operate
Right?
with. And as I said, I'm running this literally off a selfie stick in a phone, guys. And it's not about necessarily bringing the best presentation. It's about bringing the message that these people have come here to
Patrick
do.
Brown apparently enforced mandatory masks on transit. Just developing story, guys. This is just breaking news.
That's it. As long as you've got the chat and
I guess
the
our
audio,
shirts,
that's
hats
good.
over masks are definitely going to be a statement. Thank you for a few people wearing it. I didn't wear it today. Just
There are a few familiar.
it's ridiculous. I mean, we all know this has all been a sham, right? I mean, CDC took away the guidance that the virus spreads on surface. It doesn't spread on surface anymore. They openly admitted to being wrong about virus being spread on surface. Why on earth the playgrounds are still closed? I have no idea, right? But obviously they have to continue doing the same thing to feed the agenda. I've been outspoken from the beginning that I can give the benefit of a doubt to all the levels of the government if only they would have actually admitted after at least a month of all these unjustified measures, you know what, guys? We did something wrong. You know what? We were wrong and we're going to adjust our approach. But if after 3 months they continue saying we did everything right and we did everything we could and we're going to continue going the same way, guess what it tells me? It was premeditated from the beginning.
Yes.
100%. You cannot tell me that you have a best interest at heart, but then the real data shows that your decisions are wrong, and Doug Ford always says, oh, I'll take responsibility for everything, but it's empty words now. I liked when he said it the first time, I take responsibility for everything happens in this province. You know what I said? You know what? I actually have respect for this man. That was over 2 months ago. That's way out of the wind a long time ago now. Like, you can talk all you want, as Randy Hiller says, your actions will ultimately show what you believe. Your actions will ultimately show what you stand for. So if you don't stand for democracy, if you don't stand for transparency, you must be resigned immediately.
Yes.
So we must demand resignation of Doug Ford at this point. If under his government, they're voting against transparency and accountability, and under his government, they're actually not even willing to have recorded votes to show which people actually rejected the transparency of this government, the whole government must resign at this point.
Yes.
It's ridiculous. You have the Ministry of Long-Term Care Homes, who was in position from last year, right? And they say, you know, this is the only province that created the long-term care home ministries and all that stuff. But again, this is all information. I read it to you guys before. They say we're doing everything we can. No, you're not. You're not. You failed miserably our elderly population, and it must stop. Like, it just, and then again, the fact that they're not willing to have independent inquiry shows you that they're guilty. 100%. When at the federal level,
Is there?
Numerous reporters.
Okay, I just got a tip. There's some craziness going on. Let's go see what's going on.
Relationships to China, or can you please investigate relationships of Dr. Tam? The only response he says, this is a racist question. It has nothing to do with racism. Us saying specifically that China is responsible
Okay,
for
this
the
is a good
virus
shut up
has nothing to do with Chinese
tip
people.
here. This is
But
people
when
looking
we
out
try
for
to
each
put
other. So we got
together and label us as
CP24
racist and white
are interviewing the
supremacists as a joke,
people
we have such a diverse group of people
involved
here.
with this movement.
And we're representing every walk of life,
It's just
all the
people come
background,
up to us and accuse us of calling it white
educators,
supremacists, and I didn't.
healthcare professionals.
And actually,
Nurses coming to me all the time saying the real data
Okay, but
that it
it's
shows
not-
that the hospitals are empty. We know that.
okay.
At least we're able to access that information. At least there's some oversight available to us. But guess what's happening now? The truth will not be silenced. This is what keeps me going, guys, on a daily basis.
They quote the negative stuff.
No, because
It's tough to lose right now for me. I'm not able to see myself.
we ran a ton of
Month.
live coverage of you guys yesterday.
Keeps me going
I
every
sent
day.
the group.
That keeps me
Freedom.
up.
I have your news release
That-
right here. I'll show you.
There's a outbreak in Germany.
Mainstream media on the ropes here, guys.
Second Toronto Freedom Rally. Guest speaker Randy Hilliard.
In Germany,
Look,
there's
I have
family
the whole
report
release
leaked
right here.
that shows that this has been whole hoax. That in Germany, that's happening. They're doing autopsies in Germany.
Okay,
They're doing
thank you guys. I really do have to go.
Is it what it was presented to us? So the truth is coming out. The government is trying to spread it right away.
CTV is our sister
But it's coming out
station.
because people
In
have
that
enough.
article, they were quoting
Yeah, fine,
somebody's
but also the first
comment
week, but
just
after
to
3
say,
months,
"Yes, you take your comment."
and extend it
Why
another
would you
month.
have to?
It
Because that's
shows
what
you
makes
again,
you
they
fair.
have premeditated this agenda from the beginning. They have no desire to open until September. And by
Yesterday, you guys
September,
said
they're going
things
to
that a
have all
lot of
these
people
infrastructures
disagree with
installed
too. I
on
have to tell all
businesses
sides of the story.
to subject our children to these completely unnecessary concentration
It's my
camps.
job to tell all sides of the story.
And guess what happens next?
No, I understand.
Next is medical experiments.
They posted what the other people said about us being white supremacists, but nobody covered my speech.
Exactly.
No, I know. I'm not talking about you right now. I'm just saying in general. When they quote other people talking about us, they quote them. When we're talking about ourselves and how we're not white supremacists, how we represent all genders, all ethnicities, age groups, we're representing business owners, we're representing
And
parents.
Ryan,
Nobody quotes us on that.
yesterday, a question was asked to the Premier by Toronto Senator Brian Lilley, who said that people up here represent a lot of people
When you
small
have
business
big
owners
corporations
and
still allowed
others
to
who
operate
want
the
to do
business,
business.
but all the small
And he asked
businesses
the
are
Premier
suppressed.
about that. So the question
It shows
was
to
asked
you.
to him as well.
Finally, after 6
Is not
weeks.
real.
Actually, I
But
think
nobody's
there were two
nobody's
questions asked about me.
nobody's quoted us. I've done multiple
But I
interviews
have
for
because I
C.
ran Vlad's clips. That's his
No,
direct quote.
You did, yes. You are the only one. I meant nobody's quoted me. I've done multiple interviews with CTV, CBC, Global, and every time I can give them 10 minutes of footage, and I won't get 1 second of
Well, then
coverage.
what I suggest you do is you take it up with those individuals.
Like I said, I'm not telling you what's going on. You trying to say how they're representing both sides equally, but they're really not.
No, I
Mainstream
think what I'm saying is it's my job to tell all sides.
Exactly, that would be the job. But they only, but they're telling that side of the story, and then we're not getting really to tell our side of the story. We just started to yesterday, but we've had 6 weeks of basically all one-sided coverage
But I
and all
do
negative
know
coverage.
that one of our reporters has been here a couple Saturdays and has asked the Premier about.
We just need more people coming.
Well, have you not been here on Saturdays?
We're here every Saturday.
Yes, we have. And one of our reporters has been here and has asked the Premier about it on the teleconference on Saturdays.
We've never had, see how you're coming in and interviewing us on Saturdays? Not one of the mainstream will come in and talk to anybody. The only people that'll do that are A24 or Rebel. They'll come in, they'll interview people, they'll actually ask why we're there, they'll get the actual message on the reality on the ground, and then they'll make a nice clip, well-rounded, showing 5-6 speakers, explaining exactly why everyone's there. We never get any of that from
Well,
mainstream.
you did yesterday.
Yesterday we got a
I was
20.
here.
Yesterday we got a 20-second clip that they only provided us because they had no choice. Because when the mainstream, they had no choice but to address us because Randy Hilliard came out.
No,
If we
I
didn't
didn't
get,
get a clip of Randy Hilliard.
I know he ran a clip of us, but if Randy Hilliard didn't come out and get us the public report and get dug for on the defensive and have
No,
to
that's not
address
true.
us,
I ran a
we
clip
would
of
not have got.
interview.
We would not have got the clip. You can say that, but the last 6 weeks
Listen,
we've had people and we haven't got any clips. The only time we got any mainstream coverage is as soon as we got public support from a sitting MPP, then they had to acknowledge our movement, and they couldn't really call us racist white supremacists when we have a sitting MP.
Hold on 1 second. What's your name?
So that's
Christina.
point number 3,
Right.
right?
Because we're not
Blow her a kiss because she's Jewish.
So Christina, the thing is this: is that now that you know we're here on Saturdays,
Guess what's happening?
That's all I'm saying. We should get some coverage now that you guys all know and you know we're going to be there.
Look, our newsroom considers everything. Since I told you I had this news release today. It's sent to our newsroom. We consider all stories.
I'm not saying you don't consider them. I'm just saying up until now, we haven't gotten any mainstream coverage on the ground at our protests. We've been there 6 weeks. Sometimes we've had up to 1,000 people. Not one representative has come even this close to us. They all stay on the outskirts. So they'll film it from afar, and then they give a skewed thing of what we're there. They'll call us fringe. They'll call us white supremacists. They call us far right. They characterize us in ways that just aren't true. Only when we got the public support from the sitting MPP that the mainstream media had to give us. You gave us what, 20 seconds, and it talked about Vlad talking about Hudson Bay.
I throw to a clip of everybody, not the same amount of time.
Guess what? We're coming out to Germany.
But they don't come on.
That would be great. If we can,
But they're promoting like
just like you're talking to us now, all we want is one of the people from TV or CBC or Global, mainstream coverage, just like they gave to BLN. They had a freaking helicopter following them. They were talking about their protests all week on TV. If we could get one person talking to us, I think it would be beneficial for everybody, because then everybody would really get our side of the story. They would get an actual representation of the actual people at the protest, a completely diverse crowd with all different races and
What I want to say is, it doesn't matter to me that Randy came out.
it matters to everybody else. If Randy never came out, we would have never gotten the coverage.
No, that's not true.
It is true, because for 6 weeks we never got any coverage. And it's not a coincidence the one day we got the coverage is the day that we got public support. No, you didn't, but the only reason they ran a clip of us is because he was out here supporting. He came out here and he spoke publicly to support somebody. So the mainstream media had to address who he was out here supporting. He wasn't out here supporting himself.
That's okay. Do what you can do from home, but please show up, please support us, please spread the message. It's
The only mention we got from the mainstream media is because of Randy Hill.
Enough is enough.
Because I didn't mention it.
Enough is enough.
Someone can say that.
Enough is enough.
No. I'm showing
Enough
you
is
that I'm
enough.
aware of what's going on.
I know, but the press release is talking about Randy Hill here.
I didn't write it. Your organization did not read it. One of your organizations wrote it. I didn't write it. That's the release from your
But is it
organization.
not included with the article that you guys
No,
wrote?
I'm showing you the release that came into my
So I hope to see all of you here on
That's a
Saturday.
release that came from your
We're going to have a
organization.
great time. We're going to have
Look, I have
music.
to
We're
call
going to
it
have
to
children. We're
conference.
going to
I
have
appreciate your
it's a
time.
potluck cook.
I recognize your concerns. And I spoke to Vlad. I even asked him about his info.
Yeah,
I know. I saw it. I saw the 20-second clip. It was just basically
They need to just come on Saturdays.
and actually talk to people.
Yeah.
So for now, we're
That's
just
what
going
we
to
I will mention it.
Real people on the ground, so they can get an actual depiction of what's going on there.
get home and start writing these letters and get them
Up to
out
now, it's
and make our
been a
members.
one-sided thing.
And just get
All the
close
coverage that we have been getting from all sides is always negative. There hasn't been any positive coverage.
Okay, I
First
appreciate your
glimmer
time.
of
I
hope,
still,
we all
Chris, I have to, I'm trying to use
No
the
problem,
phone
sorry.
to talk. Thanks
Have
for
a
your
nice
time.
day.
Thank you.
Judy.
Bye.
There you go, guys. Look at that. Putting the mainstream on the ropes there with some home troops. So that was a little bit of a, I'm not going to say an exclusive, but there were a few people recording that. Stuff you won't see on the mainstream, guys.
He's never expressed that to me before. And his
There's
friends
a
are not
familiar
playing
face.
with other friends. The parents are too afraid. And even now, you know, he has to hang around with adults. And I'm appealing to the politicians, the leaders, supposedly leaders we voted in. Like, as a leader, you take care of your sheep. You take care of those who look up to you. And this has not been demonstrated by whoever's sitting in there. They give themselves names, you're honorable, whatever. I appeal to the human side as mothers and fathers and grandparents. You know, we are supposed to take care of those who trust us. Our kids trust us. These voters trust you, politicians. And unfortunately, they've trusted you for many years, and you've been slapping them many times in the face and punching them, you know, right in your heart. And voters, you need to stand up. These politicians are not going to change. My parents, they came. I was almost 6. They came from China, communist country. My Chinese name, translated, is Ocean Swallow. My dad named me Ocean Swallow, Hua Yin, Cantonese pronunciation. to fly out of the iron fist of communism. And how would they know that right now communism is taking hold over here? Right? You know, a swallow flies with a lot of encouragement, with a lot of courage, and endurance over oceans to make a new nest, to make a new life for themselves. And my dad named me to fly out of communism to make a better life. And a lot of you here are immigrants, or children of immigrants, grandchildren. We need to stand up and take that back, because a lot of people come here and they think, oh, the government's great, they're going to take care of us. You can see, like, please open your eyes, open your hearts. I want to talk about that later. You know, in your heart chakras, I'm going to talk about the chakras. As conscious beings, as consciousness, you know that something is not up. This is not right. We are social beings. We need to hug each other. We need to be together. And for those, we have parents amongst my parent group friends, their children have not been out for 3 weeks until they go out for groceries and they go, that is not normal. Come on, really? Thank you. That is child abuse. So I appeal to the voters, the politicians, moms, fathers, grandparents. You know, in the heart of hearts, you pay attention to what it's saying in here, your high chakra, your heart chakra. You need to get your children together in the playgrounds. Just go out and you can talk to other parents and see that their children are sad. You cannot ignore that. They're saying, oh, it's a phase, it's going to go away. It will not go away. It is trauma. The government, Bill Gates, WHO, CDC, they give themselves such names, hide behind names, to say, oh, I'm not responsible. These are people running these organizations. So I am appealing to our leaders no longer. You think about what's going to happen to your grandchildren generations later. You know, the psychological welfare, the psychological harm that you're causing them. You're saying, oh, we're giving them money, we're taking care of them physically. Psychologically, you want us dependent on the government. We do not consent. We will not have that. We are independent. Independent. And I bring my son out anytime he wants to come out. And unfortunately, it's affecting him psychologically. He says, no, Mom, I can't play with my friends. You know, if they can't come out, I'm not going to come out. And I said, no, you come out and see. That's normal. People are coming out to Queen's Park, playing. There has not been any spikes. And who cares about the spikes and increased cases? What does that mean? Nothing. We have an immune system. Stop wasting our money on these stupid tests. False tests. And Doug, I know that you are probably under pressure. Maybe you're being blackmailed. Maybe you're threatened. Your family might become at harm. But there is a God who will look out for you. If you are doing the right thing, God looks after those who act out of love. You are not acting out of love. The people who voted themselves to have a pay raise, while you're telling people to stay home, you are digging your own graves. You know, eternal graves, I would say. You are harming yourselves for generations, and your soul. Thank you. This is a matter of soul. It's not a matter of your lifestyle. It will be increased because you have all this money. You know, forced to you. But I appeal to you for the humanity, for the humanity of all these leaders. End the lockdown now. End the lockdown now. And of course, you guys are probably going golfing and all that. Children have not been affected.
Oh, sorry guys, need the shade again. Yeah, we love Judy. She's awesome. She is actually awesome.
Psychologically, emotionally, socially.
So I've got a little vantage point here, guys.
I appeal to your humanity and feel it in your heart. All mothers, fathers, aunts, uncles, anybody out there, just look in the mirror. You are all responsible for the silent group, for the silence that you're not coming out and supporting us, the silence that occurred in Nazi Germany.
Yeah, I will. Thank you.
That was consensus.
So let me just show you this, guys.
And we will not have that. So everybody, I appeal to your hearts and third eye chakras. Thank you so much. Wake up!
Thank you so much, Rudy. That was a very spirited conversation with the wonderful people. So listen, guys, pursuant to what she just had to say, I want you to think about something. We're putting the job of politicians in the hands of creating a future. Can I ask you one question? Do you think if your job only lasts 3 years or 4 years, do you think I'm going to trust you to think of my future? They're not set up for that. That's the point. They're not thinking about the world for you. They're only thinking about a short amount of time where they wipe the slate clean and somebody else comes in with another agenda that is frankly not about your betterment. So I want you to just think about that. Okay? So, Kelly, are we coming up? Who else is coming up here? Thanks, Tom. I don't have my scarf, so I can't get too close.
So that's wonderful. There is one more speaker that I could never, ever, ever forget about, and who is so special to all of us. Matt, would you please come up and take the microphone and talk about all the beautiful things that you have to talk about? Everybody, here's Matt.
Hey guys, it's been an incredible 24 hours for me prepping for this. So as I promised, I'm here to commence a hunger strike. I'm not going to get into, there have been wonderful speakers here. Everyone has really itemized this point, and we really need to band together and fight together. So I will be walking University Avenue as that beacon to call people 24/7, day and night. I will be not eating. Again, I am medically advised. A licensed paramedic does hold my decision making at this point in time. So that way I am protecting myself from essentially myself. I would like to lead with more of an emotion that I'm fighting for homelessness, mental health, all those really downtrodden parts of society. I've had quite an incredible journey. You can actually check it out through #MentalHealthIsVisible or on my Facebook page. There's quite a few live videos of my strike. But after that, just through the life and really just living it and trying to figure out my own mental health, I actually had to lean on the food banks, which so many are actually having to do, is those food banks are being leaned on in mass today. So I would like to share a poem that really hits it home of just what it's like to actually visit one of those places. Feet wet, breeze blows, a city passes by with a sound of despair. Frozen over the desperate wait for a glimmer of hope away from frigid air. Opening time has come and gone as we wait for our shepherd to greet his flock. He opens the doors to shivering bodies starting to line the block. Shuffle into we, cold and beating, fighting through another day. Smells of stew fill the air, the greeting prospect of hunger away. Another line in a series of lines, always taking one back to start. A DMV of life we wait endlessly to be deemed possibly of more value than art. Tension is high as emotions fly, picking numbers our fate we ascertain. From across the room you'll hear aloud, why number 62 again. Battered and beaten, bestowed with endless silver lining, banter and bicker as we round the table. Oops, I apologize, I lost myself. Banter and bicker as we round the tables. The volunteer smiles as the working led around like cattle, we wonder, is this what we're worth? Is this quite possibly what was meant to birth? The last table comes stopped dwindling as bare surface shows. Impossible to avoid the overbearing feeling of this fucking blow. We pack our bags with the feeling, at least I can eat tonight. Labeled beggars we are, just for simple want of a bite before the night. I sit and wonder, how can people think we choose this life? The cold sting of hunger regularly cutting like a knife. Choosing a life less than is absolutely crayon. Exhausted, I begin to cry out with a tear-filled yawn. I have chosen this life for a moment in time. Tell you this, I will, it has been anything but sublime. To be discarded, disregarded, stuck in a prison of desperation. Silently begging, please, and pleading, please stop the exacerbation of a crazy new world with a hidden pandemic that's going to require a whole new medic. Through love and care, they will work, completely disregarding and shedding society's bestowed inner jerk. Doing away perceptions toxically cynical, life where emotion is anything but equivocal. Unconditional compassion, love, and understanding make visible a new dawn where the needs of all are possible. I plead to anyone listening to stop and see. Everyone, everywhere, is no more or less than you and me. I actually wrote that before COVID. That is what it's like to go to the food bank before this situation. They are now lining you up on the street. Supposedly, the waiting process you had actually.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Just for humanity. I will be walking day and night. I will not be eating. I will be consuming all kinds of water. Anyone is welcome to come and engage with me. I am bringing back that old 60 message of peace, love, prosperity, unity. We need to unite all our causes. Everyone fighting for a cause right now has that core in it, and we all need to unite. No more separation. Those of us fighting cannot be separating each other. We just need love and inclusivity. And just one small note, I do not want to do this, but in and out of my stance of middle ground, if anyone does come to me and discloses, I doubt I will see those that are at serious risk, but if someone discloses that they are caring for someone at serious risk but would like to sit down with me, I will put down my personal opinion and feelings. A mask covering actually makes me feel like I want to drive a knife through my face from anxiety, and I will sit with you with an N95 carbon mask out of respect, because this is about choice. This is about freedom of choice. I am not saying what you should do, and I'm just asking that you don't tell me what I should. Thank you so much.
Okay, Nancy, as I said, I can't make him more understandable or make the mic any louder. I apologise for that. As I said, this isn't a professional organisation, just trying to bring the message the best we can. So we're going to probably listen to what Kelly has to say now.
For people who are under so much immense pressure from this quarantine is just unbelievably courageous and heroic to me. Absolutely. Thank you, Matt.
Sorry about this jittering, guys. I'm trying to...
So at this point, we've got some work to do, the whole bunch of us. So we're going to wrap it up. Everybody is, of course, welcome to stay if they want, but I would hope to see everybody back here on Saturday. We're gonna have a good get together. Bring the kids out, let them socialize and get together. They are not susceptible to this virus.
Okay, so they're going to be wrapping up anyways. We'll just hear these final words, and then I'm going to wrap up, guys.
Or the peer-reviewed published Nature that this virus does not affect people with healthy immune tissue, nor can it replicate on healthy immune tissue. So if anybody else says otherwise, they're simply lying. So I hope to see everybody back here on Saturday, and thank you all for coming. Your support matters absolutely so much. Thank you.
Okay, guys, let me just walk around here a little bit, have a little look around at the skies above Toronto today. Cloudy, a little bit humid, hotter than yesterday. It's about 25, 26 degrees right now. So here we have the few handful of people that did come here today to make their presence known, make their voices heard. But we heard some very, very interesting stuff there. Toronto has its moments, Danielle. Not so much in the middle of winter when it's minus 40. You might not find it as charming, but here we go. These scenes should be they should be becoming quite familiar with you now if you have been tuning in for week and week. This is Queen's Park in Toronto, in the heart of downtown. There are some of the buildings there in the distance, and you can see all the greenery has finally come out. The weeks that we have been coming here will be the 7th week, I believe, this weekend coming. We've been here in the snow, the rain, the wind, now the sun. and it's probably going to be, let's hope, a long hot summer. Well, this is very interesting. This looks like it's one of, oh no, it isn't. I thought that was one of my friends there, but when I got closer it wasn't. So as I said, guys, we are probably going to wrap this up in a little while. Well, sometimes when there's a smaller crowd, you seem to get a little bit more, you know, not so many distractions, right? That's something I'm looking to say. And it's a little bit easier to talk to the few rather than the masses. But there's a lot of important stuff today. We did see Randy Hillier. He came out yesterday. He came out today. We got to see Chris Sky. He's just there. Talking to Vlad, he went toe-to-toe with the mainstream. There's a familiar face to everybody. Say hi, Jenna. Got a high five, mommy? That was an interesting bunch of speakers today. You think so?
It's always good to have somebody speaking.
Exactly, and a lot of people were listening on the other end of the stream, so it doesn't matter that maybe not so many people showed up number-wise.
The media was here, so we'll see whether we get on.
Yeah, I noticed actually, funny enough, that when the media arrived and Randy Hillier come out, they went back to their van. They didn't want to hear what he had to say. So that was a little bit interesting. But we've got CP24 in 680 News, which is a radio broadcast organisation for those of you watching who don't know. So there has been a little bit of media, but as you were hearing in that little interaction between CP24, the reporter, I don't know her name, it's a shame they didn't send good old Patricia Jaganov. I've got a little bit of a soft spot for her. But anyway, we saw that live. There's another familiar face. There's my boy Luca. How are you, brother? Thanks for that head tips. We got that live and exclusive. Oh, I'm not saying exclusive.
It needed to be filmed because I saw that they were secretly filming, and I didn't want them to
yeah, I noticed.
Represent us on mainstream media on some kind of side clip or whatever, on the internet, whatever they try to do. Right?
Exactly, because they can use it. That was caught live here. People witnessed it, and she was giving me some dirty looks when I was filming her. Like,
yeah, I saw that.
She's like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Right? My camera ran out of time, but
yeah, that's a shame. That's a shame. But we caught that exclusively, so I'm going to probably just do a little walk around, wrap this up, and I'll talk to you some more off camera. Let me see if anybody else wants to say. Let's go and speak to our little friend Judy. Hey.
Does everyone know? I think you need to make announcements. We've handed out stacks of them, right?
Hey, have you got a hug for me, darling? Good to see you. You were getting a lot of respect for your little speech up there. I think you had a couple of people. Sorry, I didn't even get you on the camera. Say hello.
Hi, I'm Judy. How are you?
I think it's wonderful.
It is, exactly. It adds a little bit. And you're Kelly. Let me meet you. I've seen you a few times. I'm from TSP TV. I've been recording live. I get everything that you said. CWN, I've been hitting up with Citizens World Network. They're streaming my stream, so we're trying to reach as many people. We don't see the faces here. And then unlike mainstream, I will give you the platform, unbiased.
It's independent journalists like yourself that really help grassroots movements exist.
And exactly, so we're in this together. We're trying to play our part in, we're not here for likes. So I'm not even monetized. I don't get anything for YouTube.
Want to show people what's
I want to show and try and wake people up. And your message is, hopefully, we're reaching Louisiana, California, Texas right now. It's not just Toronto.
Listen to everybody south of the border. This is a southern girl who might be north of the border, but we are one continent. We are all Americans.
Exactly.
We need to stand together and defend our freedom, period.
Exactly, this is our soil. Thank you very much, Kelly. I hope to see some more and hear of you in the future. So there you go, guys. We're talking to the important people. We're letting them know that we're all here fighting the fight for freedom. We're all on the same page. We all have the same enemy. It is the New World Order elite. This is the push towards a one world government, total surveillance, totalitarian, draconian measures. And these band of freedom fighters, just like in Star Wars, this is the new hope, people. This is the few bunch of radical rebels that are willing to come out and stand for freedom, not just their freedoms. None of these people, although there are probably personal reasons that made them stand up, they're not here for any personal glory. They're here for humanity's sake, really, guys. And that's why we here. You can see little Letitia there talking to Judy. She's here at most of them. She's doing her best to record the information that's being put out. She started a YouTube channel. I'm going to be just chatting to her, trying to help her a little bit. We got Wayne over there, CWN Network. I did mention, I forget to mention earlier that this is also simultaneously streaming on CWN, Citizens World Network. We're doing everything we can to try and set up a legitimate man on street reporting media outlet, because this is where it's at, guys. You've seen unbiased, unfiltered reporting here. You got to hear a lot of important stuff that you're not going to see on the news. You got to see an exclusive interaction between the leaders of the protest and mainstream media. You saw Randy Hillier, member of Parliament, come out and speak live with some very encouraging words of support, and letting us know that behind those doors over there are a couple of folks that are fighting for us. They aren't all on the New World Order payroll. They aren't serving their elites, banker masters, and they're not puppets. They're not all puppets. So that is also very encouraging. Let's just get a last little look at who's saying what in the chat, if I can. Wayne is great. A small group together have some unity away from the mic and spotlight just to get. Well, Crying Hippie, as I said yesterday in my live stream, I'm maybe a little bit more involved with this than just turning up and pressing play and recording live. So we have got, there are things in motion. There are people that are getting together and talk, and maybe we will see some more footage of that in the future. But as I say, guys, at the minute everybody's busy. Everyone's kind of doing their thing to try and make all of this happen. Everyone's fighting their own battles, and sometimes the minutes and the hours in the day just get away from you. So we are going to try and do that, a round table. I'm trying to get all the guys together, maybe get a couple of other media outlets or some of these, YouTubers, Instagrammers, Facebook Livers, some of these people together, and maybe we can record this together. So anyway, guys, what is it now? I don't even know how long we've been recording for. So as you can see, the protest, the rally has kind of come to the end. Those possibly, if I do interview anybody, I'm going to do it on camera in probably upload later if or not I do. As I said, a lot of people have lots of busy, more important things to do than maybe drop everything to talk to me, TSP TV. But we got to hear and speak to everybody of importance today, or we got to hear from everybody of importance. And again, we brought you some exclusive live footage here from Queen's Park, Toronto. You saw Randy Hillier speak to the people, and that's something you probably won't see on mainstream. So thanks very much, guys. We're going to say goodbye. God bless. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you a little bit later in the next one. Take care, guys. Ship Video Productions for TSP TV, live on location.